I think in all the classes I've taught and things, the Pula bread from Norway was the most interesting, and it was so fun. It's a braided bread. It it's almost fail proof. It's just like, but that has been the it's I guess because you don't have to wait for it to rise like regular bread. We let it rise a couple of times and punch it down, so it's quite the process. But the Pula bread, and then we got to use our hands and make three um, rolls of it's almost like Play-Doh, the old Play-Doh days, and then form it into something beautiful. And it was a unique taste. We used a little bit different spices in it than we're normal to. So that was fun. Um, but a good sandwich bread is wonderful. The thing about baking bread at home, it doesn't have all the preservatives in it that store-bought bread does. Because usually a loaf of bread at home will last maybe 5 days. And if you see those in the grocery store, they've got quite a shelf life on them.
So, what is the best gadget or implement for someone to have when they're making bread? Like, is there a tool or a thing or just
No, there's just a bowl in your hands. It's bread has been made for centuries. There are some cool little gadgets. There's some rubber scrapers, to scrape the dough off the kneading surface and put it into the bowl. The thermometer is probably the latest gadget that I've come across. Because you can tell with the thermometer, instead of watching the baking time, you can watch the temperature by just inserting a thermometer in the side of the bread. And once it reaches a certain degree, it's done.
Yeah.
And that way, if your oven's too hot, whatever, you have a more. So that's probably the latest gadget. Is it necessary? No. Is it fun to have? Yeah.
Well, fun can be good too. Yeah. I mean, I think to me, like, of course, during the pandemic, like everyone else, we made bread a couple of times. And I think, my son and I, we got a little discouraged because like it didn't come out great a couple of times.
You should have called me.
Well, I should have done that. But also I think like making bread, like it's a lot of practice. Like you just have to practice at it until you can be like,
and yep. And making sure you get that yeast right, and don't put it to rise and then forget it, so that it over rises or get in too big a hurry so it doesn't rise enough. So and like you said, it just takes practice.
Yeah.
Don't give up. We have for Oklahoma, I love to shop at home, and Shawnee Mills is a good bread. Some of your other flours are good. There's Stone Mountain or something, but those tend to be pretty pricey. And I think if you're going to try some of the breads with different maybe a rye bread or something, you might check like Sprouts or somewhere where you can buy a small amount so you're not stuck with a 5-pound bag. If it works fine, you can go, so if you're kind of branching out there and getting away from unbleached flour. Oh, that's another thing. There is a difference between unbleached and bleached flour. I recommend the unbleached for bread. The bleached has simply been, they put a chemical on it to make it white. So it's okay if your bread looks a little beige, it's not quite as bright white as you think it is. But the unbleached flour seems to do a little bit better than the bleached flour.